Hey y'all, welcome back to Gadfly, the podcast about third parties, fringe candidates, and just generally weird American electoral history. I'm Dusty Wilson.
I'm Una O'Leary.
And oh man, Una, I have been in a world of fantasy all week.
Welcome, Dusty. What books are you reading? Tell me all about them.
I'm actually not reading any books.
Oh no.
So for the listeners, Una and I are in a D&D group, and we usually meet every weekend, but we haven't had D&D for the past 2 weeks due to multiple conflicts that everyone has had.
Yes.
I went and got a game called Crusader Kings 3, where the general gist is it's the year 800. You can be anyone who exists right now.
Oh my God.
And the game is known for just it's micromanaging everything. So you're like, all right, I have to educate my firstborn son, but I also have to make sure the military is well kept, but I also have to hire the right physician so I don't die of everything.
This sounds so exhausting. Like I understand the appeal for some people. For me,
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, and usually with those games, I get really excited, and then 2 minutes in, I get completely overwhelmed by the micromanaging. I don't know what happened on this one, but I broke through somehow. And I think it's because you start creating these little stories in your head of how things go.
Stop it.
For example, the tutorial is you are the Duke of Munster in Ireland, and they're just like, take over Ireland. And I'm like, you got it. Already 10 steps ahead of you. So I'm raising my family.
Too easy.
Yeah, it's like I get a cool wife, and we're like hanging out, and Wales likes me for some reason, and we're raising kids, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to be a really good medieval dad. I'm going to make sure everyone's well educated, that I'm going to pair them off with someone who's really great for them. And 3 hours into gameplay, they're like, hey, sire, your third child, your second eldest daughter, she's a lunatic. Her favorite things are sadism, violence, and she keeps grudges. So what are you going to do to fix your 15-year-old daughter? And immediately I was like, send her to Orkney. And I just married her off to a Viking and forgot about her.
No!
And to be fair,
medieval dad, Dusty.
No, I am getting that serial killer the fuck out of Ireland. She could go to some random island in the Hebrides and just, I did check in on her because I felt bad. I was like, what's going on? As of right now, she has an 8-year-old son who is only described in one word, wrathful. Oh my God. So they're doing good.
Maybe she would have been a great leader.
I'm not allowed to make women leaders, though. That's the thing that sucks. Ireland is a Catholic nation. I would have to change the religion to be able to put women in charge of anything. And I can't force people to do that because I don't have a big enough army.
Oh my God. I'm going to wind up playing this, aren't I?
Yeah, if you can get through the tutorial, it is The Sims with worse decisions. Like there are ways you can go through the game and just create an incest dynasty, and people start to look very Habsburgian if you go too long.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
So it is like when you said you can be anyone of this time period. It's like, Are you picking a country? Is it generally Europe? Is it anywhere in the world?
It is as far north as like the northwest corner is Iceland. The southwest corner is Ghana. The southeast corner is like Thailand and Cambodia.
Oh,
and the northeast corner is Russia or whoever's there.
Dope.
Yeah, it is huge. And throughout the year, they're going to be filling it in with new add-ons and things like that. And yeah, there's just hundreds of people you could be.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it starts off historically accurate. And then...
and then you enter. Yeah. So for listeners, we are not sponsored.
Oh my
God.
We
would love to be.
If we were sponsored by Crusader Kings, I would probably drop this podcast and just do episodes on the crazy, stupid shit I've done and my terrible sins. But oh yeah, we're a political podcast. So Una,
right.
Oh my God.
Dusty.
Oh my God. So
Dusty.
I realized for the past couple of weeks, we haven't really been talking about third parties that much. It's mostly been about weird grifty dudes and just kind of general fuckery.
Right.
So we're going back into third party zone now. We're going back into our wheelhouse. And to do that, we're going to be talking about a guy who I don't want to spill too many beans, but I will just say this. It's going to start weird and just be prepared for it to keep getting weirder.
Oh no, it's the Marina Trench of weirdness. It just keeps going.
Today, we're going to be talking about a fellow by the name of Bo Gritz. And I don't think you've heard of him before. But when we get to the end of this episode, I guarantee you will know who he is.
Oh no!
I will have told you about him, but you'll get it.
Right.
All right. Are you ready for shit to get weird?
I've never been more ready.
Excellent. So James Gordon Gritz was born in Enid, Oklahoma in 1939.
That is already a mouthful.
It feels like something you would say before going on stage as a vocal warm-up.
I was just going to say, yeah, I'm pretty sure that is one of the earlier scenes in My Fair Lady. You're just missing the marbles.
Yeah, they just had to cut that scene. There were too many moments of trying to teach Eliza to talk good. So his nickname Bo, I have no idea where it comes from. I searched many times to try to find how he got it. I'm assuming he got it in his childhood. I have another theory that we could do later, but I think it's something that happens too late for it to be accurate, though. But we'll bring it up at the end, and we'll try to figure this out. So Bo was born in Enid, Oklahoma, and his childhood is something you could kind of describe as traditionally tragic.
Oh no.
So Bo's father was a pilot in the Army Air Corps, and his mother served as a ferry pilot during World War II, leaving Bo to live with his grandparents on their Oklahoma chicken farm. Which, if you've ever been near a chicken farm, it's the smell is somewhere between paper mill and old garbage.
Yeah, it's not good.
So in 1944, Bo's father would be shot down over France and killed, and it
Holy
seems his
shit.
mother would just completely disappear from the picture.
Wait, and what year was this?
1944, so when he
Okay.
was 5 years old.
Oh.
So, according to the book Prisoners of Hope by Susan Katz Keating, where I got a lot of this episode's information from, Bo's childhood would be shaped heavily by his grandmother. She would send Bo off on backyard play missions where he would pretend to complete them with his war hero father. She would also read him stories of fictional war heroes, and before long, Bo's entire goal in life was to become a military hero, just like his father.
Oh boy, that's a lot of fucked up right
Yeah.
there.
Bo, I need to feed the chickens. Why don't you go on a mission with your dead father?
I mean, there's immersion therapy and then there's whatever this is.
It's Oklahoma grandparents trying their best. Like, we barely got out of the Dust Bowl. These chickens are slightly alive. We're gonna do it.
Oh boy.
So in 1953, when Bo's about 14 years old, he would be expelled from school. It's not clear what the final straw was, but Bo admits himself that he was a little bit of a shit at the time. As he said, he would pull pranks, set off fireworks in the school auditorium, he stole a few motorcycles, built his own hot rod, and ran around with a gang of other delinquents.
Ooh,
So,
sign me up.
kid shit.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
stealing motorcycles is one of those things where it's like, all right, you might have gone too far, but letting a 14-year-old build a car feels like the worst idea.
feels amazing. More 14-year-olds should be building cars these days. That's what's lacking.
Son, we would give you a ticket for driving this car underage, but since you built it,
You built
clearly.
And cars these days are like 60% computer. You may as well just go to college.
So Bo had a bit of a backup plan, though, because high school just really wasn't doing it for him. And so what he did is he took the $10,000 from his father's life insurance policy and he used it to enroll himself in Fork Union Military Academy in Virginia. That's right. Bo sent himself to military school.
I was gonna say, because like the classic thing of this era is if you're that much of a shit or from like wealthy parents who can't send their disturbed daughter to the Oakley Islands in
The Orkney Islands.
Orkney Islands,
Learn to make scotch, murderer.
do something with your life.
Man, I shouldn't talk about Adele that way. She was such a good daughter.
But you sent her away.
I did. I married her to a Norwegian Viking, and they're both wrathful and content with their angry 8-year-old son. They're fine.
They are gonna come back and conquer your ass.
Yeah, probably, but I'll be dead by then.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so like of the 50s and everything, it's like the classic thing was to send the kid to usually the boy to like hard ass military school. So I felt like he had a long con
Yeah.
established where it's like, okay, I don't have parents, so I'm just gonna pull myself up by my own bootstraps and tell me to stop being a little shit and go to a hard ass military school.
I have 14 years until I've had enough of myself. And
Yes.
so in his senior year, Bo would be offered a spot at West Point, but he would end up turning it down. However, he would notice a Green Beret poster on campus, and according to him, he would ask an Army recruiter what those troops did. And the recruiter said, quote, "They go out into the woods, live off bark and lizards, snoop around, blow up bridges, and garrote people." And Bo immediately said, "That's for me.
Yes.
I would like to eat bark and kill people. Done." So in 1957, Bo enlisted in the U.S. Army and immediately attended officer candidate school, which would give him a guaranteed higher position than the other privates who are going in. His military career, I'm going to go through it kind of quick just because I think a lot of it's kind of been, it's not a lot of public knowledge. But in 1963, he would be promoted to captain. And during this time, or around about this time, he would go off to the Vietnam War. Now, when people estimate what kind of soldier Bo was, on the high end of good, you can look at General William Westmoreland's memoir that he published in 1976, as he would refer to Gritz as a war hero and one of the best soldiers he knew of. However, there's also a story that comes out of 1966 from his fellow Green Berets. In 1966, he led a mission into Cambodia to get a black box from a downed spy plane. The worry was if the Soviets get to it first, then they're going to be able to figure out the technology and learn what America's up to and maybe replicate everything that was there. So Gritz would lead his team and stated that upon getting to the crash site, that the black box was missing, but he was able to trace sandal prints to a nearby camp, Once they got to the camp, a firefight ensued, and Gritz got the box. However, the other Green Berets who were there said that that never happened, and that when they got to the crash site, the black box was there, and then they went home.
Hmm.
It is kind of interesting because the thing is, Bo is also a very highly decorated soldier. Throughout his tenure, and mostly during the Vietnam War, he got a ton of awards, but it included the Silver Star, the Legion of Merit, the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Bronze Star, the Purple Heart, and the Army Commendation Medal. There was a bit of research, though, and I had a bit of a hard time being able to verify this or not, but someone years ago when the internet was GeoCities and Angel Fire did a FOIA request on Bo's accomplishments
Oh, snap.
and found that a lot of the awards that he had gotten had been requested directly from Bo to initiate, and it seemed as though he got multiple awards for the same thing. So it's kind of questionable, but I don't want to accuse him of this. There are plenty of other things to accuse in the future. So right now,
Yeah.
it's a big old question mark. But
We're not saying he's like my resume.
look, I'm not going to say that he's gotten so many medals that it looks like his shirt weighs 50 pounds, but there's a lot going on there and he needs to put it in order. So in 1967, he's promoted to major, does more war stuff. And somewhere around here, he's married to his second wife. Now, there's no information really out there about his first wife. Can't find any name or anything. Somewhere around this time, he meets his second wife. And at some point after the war, he sends her to go live in Hawaii, and he just fucks off to Mexico for a bit to find himself and divorce her.
Oh, no.
Which leads us to 1974. Now, this is when he would end up marrying his third wife, a woman by the name of Claudia Jean. And like all good meet cutes, they would meet at a karate studio in Arlington, Virginia. And just like Bo, Claudia was a black belt. However, she also happened to be 16.
Oh,
Bo was 35.
Oh, no.
And look, name one 16-year-old who is not family that you enjoy talking with.
I can't.
Yeah, I don't know how many conversations you can have about black belt karate with a 16-year-old, and I don't know how that marriage was allowed to happen, but it did.
Because it was 1974 and still Virginia.
True. Oh my God, yeah, Virginia. Well, in Arlington, Virginia, so technically it's DC Metro, but you're right, it's still Virginia
It's still
before the
Virginia.
Ugh.
Yep.
So,
Don't care if you're in Falls Church.
Look, I need to know your intentions with my daughter. Okay, you've been divorced twice, great, but you're a black belt in karate? Fuck it, go ahead. You two kids have fun.
This is, oh man, there's just so much you could get away with back then.
It's really disgusting. But also, like, if you're running that, I don't know, dojo, and all of a sudden, like, for one, in what instance is a 35-year-old and a 16-year-old in the same fucking class? Do you just have that few black belts that they have to be together? Or, like, it's so baffling. I don't know how that happens. And, like, how do you date? How do you date in that instance?
Well, probably, yeah, oh God, you would have to like pick her up at her parents' house.
Yeah. You'd have to see if she's done with homework. Like, I imagine it's a lot of dates and a lot of places with bad lighting. Because otherwise, people will call the police on your date.
Jerry Lee Lewis like married his 14-year-old.
Yeah, she was 14 and his cousin.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that was like the 50s. We got 25 years on this and we've still learned nothing.
No, we haven't.
But you know what you need to do to someone who's married a 16-year-old when they're 35? You make them the commander of special forces in Latin America. So I don't know what he did, but I imagine a lot of coups.
Oh my God.
If I had to make a guess. So in 1977, he would shift to more of an office job. He would become the desk officer for the Secretary of Defense in 1977. But in 1978, Bo's military career would end in a very sudden fashion. And as we say on this show, how it happens really depends on who you ask. According to Bo, he was asked to retire by the deputy director of the DIA to lead private missions into Southeast Asia. So the DIA is the Defense Intelligence Agency. So it's essentially the three-letter org for the Department of Defense to like snoop around. And so, yeah, according to Bo, he was asked by the deputy director of the DIA to lead private missions into Southeast Asia. And as evidence of this, Bo would show people a letter directly from the deputy director confirming this. However, Bo only seemed to produce this letter after the deputy director had died, and it also didn't help that the FBI deemed the letter to be a complete forgery.
Oh, damn.
According to Susan Katz-Keating and her contacts at the Pentagon, Gritz was forced into an early retirement due to him, quote, done a Colonel Kurtz and becoming too uncontrollable.
Are you serious? She made an Apocalypse Now reference?
Yep. They made an Apocalypse Now reference. The Department of Defense said, this man has gone full Marlon Brando Apocalypse Now, and we forced him to quit. But either way, Bo would retire with the rank of lieutenant colonel, and by his own estimation, he had killed about 400 people during his entire career.
Okay, one, that's inflated. Like, fuck out of here with your 400 body count. Just stop it. Two, wow, what a weird flex. Because I don't doubt that he has willingly and delightedly killed people. Not 400, but certainly a number.
Yeah, I was trying to think what number you start to lose track at if you're keeping track of something large, and I think it's somewhere around
Yeah,
25 or 50.
absolutely not. Because unless you're a lying sociopath, I believe you would never forget the number of people you have killed. Because I think we just always assume people have like a Rambo AK-47 and are just like spraying bullets everywhere. So it's
Yeah.
like, well, who can really count? But again, I feel like with Bo, it's like, no, you're the kind of weirdo who's pulling the knife from his back pocket because he ran out of bullets,
Mhm.
and you just want to watch the light go out of a man's eye. And that's not a number you forget.
Look, I'm
And it's not 400.
guys, we need to I know the enemy's coming, but I need to stay here and count how many people are dead and make sure that they're mine. I don't want to be taking your kills and taking credit.
I'm doing NaNoDymo.
God.
I have to enter the numbers.
I'm so mad that serial killers started that. So this leads us to the first of Bo's career changes. So he's gone from a lauded by some and dislauded by others military career. But lucky for Bo, he would be forced into retirement at a very opportune time to be able to enter the world of the Vietnam War POW MIA movement. So as a super quick recap, the Vietnam War was primarily a war fought between the pro-democracy South Vietnam and the communist-minded North Vietnam. But being in the midst of the Cold War, the whole thing turned into a proxy conflict. But while the USSR would mainly just offer tactical support, military supplies, and hardware, it would mostly stay out of any fighting on the ground, America would go all in on a full land invasion after the Gulf of Tonkin incident. In 1964, the United States would claim that the North Vietnamese boats had fired on the USS Maddox and the USS Turner Joy. And this would lead to President Lyndon Johnson asking Congress to officially declare war on North Vietnam, which they did, despite the fact that the attacks on the US destroyers were completely made up.
Also, some fun items about the lead up to our involvement was Ho Chi Minh revered the American Revolution and considered himself and his people kind of like a George Washington figure. And the Vietnamese historically have hated the Chinese because that's their closest superpower that for centuries and millennia have come down and fucked with their independence in their country. And of course, in our thinking, it was like, well, the Chinese are right there. They're going to influence Vietnam and the whole place is going to become communist. And it's like, no, bro, dude, oh God, stop. I cannot recommend the Ken Burns Vietnam documentary enough. If you want to watch a slow burn of yourself, be like, no, oh, you could have, no.
It's a whole series of just if you did one thing differently, 4 million people would still be alive or would have lived.
Yes,
let them into the Treaty of Versailles. Just let's do this.
If you could just for 2 minutes put aside your ego.
Mm-hmm. So the United States would enter the war after the Gulf of Tonkin incident, and they would end up staying in the war until 1973 when the Paris Accords agreed to a ceasefire between the North and the South. However, by then, America had seen 48,000 troops killed and 303,000 wounded during the whole fight. Not only that, but the war had spurred humongous protests nationwide and tarnished the image of America as war crimes conducted by the US became publicly known. The war had been devastating on an international scale and would have multiple long-term ramifications, from the after effects of Agent Orange, a chemical designed to kill foliage that also poisoned troops on both sides, to the carpet bombing of Cambodia and Laos that to this day still leads to multiple deaths due to tons of undiscovered and unexploded ordnance. But for the sake of our topic, we'll focus on one of the bigger after effects here in America, which is the Vietnam War POW MIA campaign. So in 1967, a group that would call itself the National League of Families began a campaign to bring attention to the many American prisoners of war that had been taken in Vietnam and the poor treatment that they suffered. Created by a trio of soldiers' wives, the group's goal was to, quote, obtain the release of all prisoners, the fullest possible accounting for of the missing, and repatriation of all recoverable remains of those who died serving our nation. When the group was initially formed, the estimated number of prisoners of war, based on the Department of Defense, was around 600. However, Richard Nixon, being himself, needed an excuse to prolong the war in an attempt to be able to buy time and turn the tide. So he saw 600 as the average, and he bumped it up to saying that there were 1,500 men who had been captured. And if America were to leave the war, then we would be abandoning 1,500 soldiers. So Nixon lied to keep the war going.
I mean, yeah, color be shocked.
So the problem, though, is after the Paris Accords were signed and North Vietnam released all their prisoners of war, the number of soldiers who were freed equaled about 591. So, 600-ish.
Yeah.
But that 1,500 number was still out there, and people who had family who were either missing in action or were completely unaccounted for were able to hold on to that number as hope that their loved ones had just been captured, and the communists were just being communists and hiding them. This would end up starting a whole new cottage industry, private raids to find remaining prisoners of war.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that.
Yeah, amongst a lot of
Oh.
things. The book that I read by Susan Katz Keating, which is fully entitled Prisoners of Hope, is a book entirely about how the POW MIA whole issue was inaccurate from the get-go and just abetted by these grifters who wanted to keep making money and to push their acclaim. Now, some were true believers, but they were true believers with no evidence. And so essentially, this was a thing where people's hope was kept alive for decades.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So in 1981, Bo would enter into this very depressing sector. And his inspiration for doing so, without context, is weird as fuck. Enter H. Ross Perot.
The Perot?
Yep, the Herbert
What?
Ross Perot.
What?
So for most of us millennials, we know the thick accented Texan as the guy who ran for president as an independent in 1992, made it to the debate stage, and despite not winning a single state, caused the Republicans and Democrats to freak out so much that they created the Federal Elections Commission to make sure no one like Perot would ever have a near chance of winning the presidency if they weren't a major party candidate.
I didn't know that part. I just knew that he kind of had like a leprechaun quality to him.
A little bit, yeah. He, this is something I'm sure we're going to cover in a future episode, but for a while, he held the world record for the world's biggest jailbreak because in 1975, Perot was running a computer company, if I'm remembering right, which is where he ended up making most of his money. And he had two contractors that were in Tehran. And at some point, they had been arrested by the Iranian government.
Shut
And
up.
so Perot got to work with a former, if I remember right, either a Green Beret or Marine, someone of that caliber, planned a jailbreak, got his dudes out, but also everyone else in the prison.
Oh, like no matter why you were in there,
Yeah, got my guy. Oh, there's a hole. Have fun. Welcome to freedom.
enjoy.
So Perot actually began to build his name as a sort of person that you could go to for seed money to be able to go find prisoners of war in Southeast Asia. During a 6-year period from 1975 to 1981, Perot would fund up to 20 missions, all of which would fail to find anyone or anything. So in 1981, Perot would end up taking a meeting with Bo. And once again, what happened depends on who you ask. According to Perot, he met with Bo, but didn't give him any money for his planned mission. And that was the end of that. According to Bo, he got a secret mission from Perot himself.
Oh, no.
Well, it's a mission that Perot had gotten directly from the current DIA director and then was outsourced to Gritz, but a mission nonetheless. So Bo would describe this as his, quote, quasi-go-ahead to start planning to save prisoners of war. According to Susan Katz Keating, though, this would also be another lie. It turns out the DIA had nothing to do with Bo's perceived go-ahead. And it was actually just a random permission that Bo got from an old friend of his who was at the ISA, who went by the code name Shipman.
Oh, this is so dumb. This is getting so dumb.
And this would be good enough for Bo to start what he would dub Operation Velvet Hammer. What, that's not a good name? Uno, have you ever used a velvet hammer? Those things are comfy. So the basis of the mission was based on intelligence supplied by a Vietnamese national living in Thailand by the name of Lo Therafant. Lo claimed that he knew of a camp where American soldiers were being held in the jungles of Laos. Now, as a bit of a mind imagery, on the far east you have Vietnam, then you have Laos to the west of that, and then you have Thailand to the west of that. And underneath Laos is Cambodia. So that's the southeast, a small Southeast Asia map.
Pause the podcast and open Google Maps.
Yes,
Have a little fun.
A good time for that because we're going to be talking geography, talking a lot about Laos.
Let your mind escape the studio apartment you currently find yourself in, that you have found yourself in for the past 9 months, and take a trip into the jungle.
So Lo was able to supply American intelligence with enough info about this supposed location that would eventually be dubbed Fort Apache that they decided to actually send a mission there. They found that the site had guard towers, that there were tall walls, tons of fencing, and shadowy figures that to them appeared to be standing like Americans would stand. You know, real quality work.
I'm trying to wrap my head around it, and it's, you know what it is? This is like, why am I angry right now? I'm angry because this is what happens when conspiracy theories and LARPing have a baby. And that baby has makes actions, and the actions have consequences.
Do they?
That's yes.
So in reaction to this, the US government would send a team of Thai and Lao mercenaries to stake out the site. But in the end, none of them were able to find any evidence of Americans being held there. In fact, to them, it looked like the place had been deserted for years, and that the things that they thought were people were just shadows, just just the way the light was playing
just
with the foliage.
literal shadows.
Yep. At best, they thought it was maybe a re-education camp, but it's just there's no one there. So just, shrug boat. Can't help you. And in response to this, the DIA would then ask Lo Therafant to take a few polygraph tests, which he failed repeatedly, to which the DIA swiftly labeled Lo a grifter and moved the fuck on.
Great, good. I mean, polygraphs are notoriously not great anyway, but also, yes, heavy grifting. Oh my God, this is so dumb. This is what happens when it's like you raise a whole generation on like the boogeyman of communism and also enough enough Sean Connery, James Bond films. And then they have nowhere to go with that energy.
100%. Absolutely.
Like literally have like a camp for adults that you can send them to for 3 weeks every summer and just let them do like espionage RPG.
I think that's called Westworld.
Oh my God. Yes.
Not gonna lie, it sounds fun, but I don't think
I would sign up.
So despite all of this evidence, Shipman thought everyone was wrong. So he snuck a classified picture of Fort Apache to Bo, which led Bo to planning his own private raid on the location. And when the DIA found out that Gritz had a picture of Fort Apache, they demanded he return it, but he said no. And that's as far as that went.
DIA, come on, God.
For Bo, the mission was on, and there was no turning back. All right, now get that montage music ready, Una, because it is time to put together a team. We got to get a crack team of guys in there to save someone. We got to save the shadows and the fencing. So first, you need soldiers. And lucky for Bo, he knows a few from his old Special Forces days. He calls them up, and he offers each dude $7,000 a pop and told them to meet him in Leesburg, Florida. But not just any old place in Leesburg. The most badass, muscle-toning, athletic as fuck place in the whole town. The American Cheerleading Academy. Now, I laughed at this too, and then I did a little research, and I had to what's the
They
word?
didn't make you put down
I had to check myself. What for? I was about to wreck myself. Because you see, this particular camp had been founded by a World War II paratrooper by the name of Bill Horan, and you guessed it, he ran it just like a boot camp. So, as a place for Bo and his team to train for the next mission, wasn't really too far out there of a choice.
Nice.
So Bo would also invite 2 journalists down to Florida to document the mission, but warned them that if news got out before they rescued the soldiers from Laos, then he'd have to kill the journalists. Wink.
Yeah. Nope.
It's going to be 402. But you can't do a mission just on brawn alone. So Bo would bring in the head of the National League of Families herself, Ann Mills Griffiths, to be their point of contact in America. Her job was to phone up the White House the moment that Bo and his team radioed that they had gotten all the prisoners of war from Fort Apache and they needed a military evacuation. And if you think you're ready, though, you're missing one key member of the team. That's right. Who could possibly go into the jungles of Laos without a hypnotherapist and a psychic by the name of Karen Page?
We got a Karen in the mix?
We got a psychic Karen. And I know what you're going to ask. Is Karen still available for readings? And yes, she is.
What I was going to ask is if his wife is finally 18 and over and could maybe have the legal recourse of adulthood to divorce herself from this man.
Yeah, I think at this time she's like 23 or something. So yeah,
great girl. You got your whole life ahead of you.
Nah, she's with her black belt love, and he is out of the country most of the time. So this is working out. But yeah, Karen is still available for readings. Currently, Karen operates out of Los Angeles. And yes, she does look like a redheaded Nancy Grace. Now, her rates is she offers a 1-question reading for $150, a personal reading for $450, and a business reading for $650. So you can tell the future of business. At minimum, any of these readings will be 45 minutes, but it may be less if she has completely addressed your question before the time is up. But she does warn, quote, "A reading with me is not for the spiritually faint of heart. Don't ask Karen if you don't want the truth. I have a very strong relationship with God, and my agreement with God is that I am required to tell the truth always. Also, there is a 15% cancellation fee." So, Una, what do you think Karen's going to do on this mission?
Oh my God. She's going to be telling them where the bodies are as a psychic, or maybe it's going to be a little how Karen got her groove back in Southeast Asia.
Oh, that would be great. I hate that you're partially right, and I hate even more that you're not all the way right. Because what you answered would be dumb enough. So Karen's whole job in this operation would be one of the most important of them all. It'd be literally life or death stakes. You see, despite Bo having a picture of Fort Apache, he refused to let any of the guys on the mission see it. Instead, he had Karen describe the location to them, but not from memory from seeing the picture, but from a vision she had. And to be fair, it was a pretty detailed vision. She told them there was barbed wire around the perimeter, that there were secret tunnels under the base that contained the cells of the prisoners, and that each cell had the dog tag of each captive soldier displayed. However, she wasn't able to read any of them, so it's anyone's guess as to who's there.
Yeah, it's really hard to read in Dreamscape.
Hey, have you ever tried to read in the astral plane? That shit is wavy.
It's just not the same part of your brain, okay? All right, I just have to mention here the fact that he has this fancy secret printout, like
An actual
Mac
picture, a
an
legit picture.
actual a legit I'm using air quotes, a legit picture of this place. Won't let any of the other guys see it, but Karen can get a vision quest of it, and then they can move on. This is sounding more and more like Mormonism. This sounds like the start of how Mormons got some fancy gold tablets and then started walking west.
I kind of have a theory as to what happened. I think he's being very blustery that he didn't give the picture back to the DIA. I think he did, and at this point, he's like, "Yeah, you can't see it. That's why we have to hire a psychic."
That's so much worse.
But she also let them know that the prisoners had spent the past few days being forced to dig up bamboo along the camp perimeter, so they're probably going to be very tired. Good luck on your mission.
But she didn't come on the mission with them?
No, she's staying in
Boo!
Florida.
That is some bullshit.
Look, Karen wants to cheerlead. And yeah, she's a little past her prime, but she's got dreams.
This is the worst Fast and Furious movie ever.
So weirdly enough, no one backed out.
It's $7,000
It's true, that is $7,000.
in like 1980s money.
So Bo outlined the plans a bit further. First, they would set up base at the Nana Hotel in Bangkok, which, based on the pictures, it's a pretty nice mid-range tourist hotel, and he'd specifically chosen because it's very American-friendly. They would then set up a forward operating base in the province of Nakhon Phanom, which is right on the border of Laos and is a good 10-hour drive from Bangkok. Okay, so they've got their base in Bangkok. They got their forward operating base in Nakhon Phanom. But the problem is to get between Thailand to Laos, you got to get across the Mekong River, which is big. It is a big, mean river. And you can't really swim across it. You can't walk across it. So what they decided to use is a bit of tech that hadn't really been tested in combat.
Oh, this would go well.
An inflatable rubber aircraft. Now, and this surprised me, that's not to say that the inflatable plane was new, seeing as how Goodyear made one called the Inflato plane in 1956, that surprisingly enough never crashed and actually worked.
Ooh.
But this new plane was not made by Goodyear, and also inflating a plane while staying clandestine isn't exactly something that could be described as easy.
Wait, you just blow into the tube. How hard is Wait, really?
Or you do like an air pump.
I am
For a
winded.
whole plane for like 20 guys. So to summarize, here's the plan. Once the team lands in their literal airplane, they defeat any Lao soldiers at Fort Apache. They rescue the underground prisoners. They contact the forward operating base just outside of Laos, who then contact whoever they have at the Nana Hotel, who then contacts Ann Mills Griffiths in America, who then calls her contacts at the DIA, who then calls the White House, who then calls the 7th Fleet of the US Navy, who then sends helicopters to Fort Apache, who then extradites the prisoners and Bo's private army from Laos. A simple, every-step plan. And after hearing the whole plan, everyone stayed.
Yeah, that's $7,000, man.
It's a lot of money. So training was about as you would expect. Exercise in the morning and evening, followed by group hypnosis, and the occasional church service run by Bo himself, where he would claim that God had ordained him to rescue POWs. Everyone still stayed.
Because now they're in a cult.
That's what the hypnotherapy is for.
And they can't leave.
And everything's going so well that Bo invited 2 more journalists to the group, and once again saying, "Don't tell anyone or I'll have to kill you."
Then stop inviting journalists, you ham.
Well, he should have not invited these ones because they told everyone.
Good.
Not just about the missions, but a few other details that, at best, one could call fucky. So first, Bo had told them that the mission was being funded by a $300,000 donation from Federal Express, the company. When the reporters called Federal Express to confirm this, it would be the first time that Federal Express had heard of it.
I do love the idea of like, yeah, we're sponsoring it. Are you kidding me? To be like, to like slap a couple FedEx stickers onto these humans who have been stuck in a camp somewhere in the jungles of Vietnam.
Like, if you guys could put a couple packages in your inflatable plane, that would really help us a lot here at FedEx. And weirdly enough, Bo would actually send 2 of his men to go collect the promised money from the company, and after an executive told them both to fuck clean off, the men quit the mission. That was the breaking point for them, is being yelled at by Federal Express.
Because they realized there was no $7,000.
So Bo then moved the training from the cheerleading camp to a hunting lodge, where instead of training harder, Bo got super into preaching. He would have them sing hymns, they held hands, and then 5 more men quit, because fuck holding hands. I am not here to hold hands for $7,000.
I came here to kill people in other countries and be paid for it, not to have the worst therapy of my life.
Well, and then came the worst part. No one had been paid the entire time.
Yeah, no shit.
And so finally, the Orlando Sentinel-Star ran the story of Bo's planned invasion, and he called the whole thing off. No reporters were killed.
I'm just going to take this moment to point out that in 1980, $7,000 in 1980 would be equivalent to $22,000 now.
Oh my
So like
God.
it's not a
Yeah.
little bit of pocket change.
Yeah. I mean, you could either work at McDonald's for a year, or you could go to Laos for a week and hope.
Yeah, and like it's a beautiful country.
Yeah. And so, this would be the spot where most people would realize they got in way too over their heads and just move the fuck on. But not Bo. In fact, Bo quickly turned things around and announced his newest mission, Operation Grand Eagle, which he gave a secret second name of Bohica. And this stood for Bend Over, Here It Comes Again.
Oh God, no. I thought it was just like a fun diminutive of his own name.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. You're just like, man, I went to Bohica for spring break. It was fucking amazing. I got so drunk. So weirdly enough, he actually got a couple of the guys who had joined him for Velvet Hammer to come back. But that was more than likely because Bo was claiming that the CIA was actually backing the mission this time. But that was also enough to get California Congressman and raging asshole Bob Dornan to endorse the mission. Now, Bob Dornan, like imagine Matt Gaetz if he was an angry soccer dad.
I'm there. I'm imagining it.
Yeah, he is just the
Wow.
worst. He is a shitbag of a human.
He's
And
still in Congress.
oh no, he's out of
Okay.
Congress by like 92. He lasted
Oh.
very shortly. He tried to run for president, did not work at all.
Amazing.
And so the thing though is Bo made the biggest mistake of any grift, believing your own lie. So when the money from the CIA didn't arrive to fund the mission, Bo asked Congressman Dornan to talk to the CIA himself and find out why the money hasn't shown up. And in a conversation with the deputy director of the CIA, Bob Dornan found out that the CIA had no clue what the fuck he was talking about. And weirdly enough, this ended the mission.
At least someone was acting like an adult.
I mean, and of all the people to get mad at you, Bob Dornan's probably one of the worst people to get mad at you. I would ignore every phone call from that man if he was mad.
I love it. High risk, high reward, man.
But like, what did you think was going to happen? Like some dude at the CIA would be like, oh shit, was I supposed to send that check?
Yeah, no, what I'm sure he was expecting was to be like patched through and hear like the clicking noise that his phone was being tapped as he was sent deeper into the Pentagon to be initiated into Operation Crazy Cats. Operation Thunder of Cats.
Oh my God, that mission was glorious. It's like,
So much neon, which is weird because you can see it a mile away.
oh my God, I want that to be a movie so bad. Like just hiding at the bottom bin of a blockbuster. Operation Crazy Cats. What's Michael Biehn doing in this?
This looks terrible. Let's buy it.
So by this point, the imagined government had fucked over Bo enough times. He was done with what he imagined the DIA and the CIA to be. And he knew this time he could only truly succeed by fundraising on his own. And it's what he started to do to get off the ground his third mission, Operation Lazarus.
Stop, Bo! Oh my God!
So first, Bo bought a charter from the United Vietnam Veterans Organization and used it to create his own nonprofit, the POW MIA Never Forget chapter. And after this, he was able to collect donations tax-free to use for his missions.
God, he was like an early proto GoFundMe.
And now, by this point, he had to start getting new contacts, the sort of guys who hadn't been tainted by the US government. And making a point to say how much he now hated the CIA, he was able to find a whole wealth of shady people willing to claim whatever the fuck Bo wanted.
Oh, with open arms.
And one such guy would be the former deputy premier of Laos, Phu My Nosavan. In 1959, Phu My had taken over Laos in a bloodless coup, and he would then be ousted in a coup staged by his best friend the very next year, and then he would stage his own counter-coup with the aid of the CIA 5 months after that. As a show of character, it's always a good sign when your Wikipedia page has a section simply titled, More Coups. In the 1970s, Laos had gotten completely fed up with Phu My's bullshit and exiled him from the country, forcing him to spend the rest of his life in Thailand. And with a bio like that, how could Bo not trust this guy? Plus, Phu My would promise to Bo that he would be able to rent out his substantial private army of his most loyal men to aid in saving the potential American POWs still in Laos. This time around, the plan would be somewhat the same. Instead of going to Fort Apache on their own, Bo would pay for Phu My's army to lead him and his men into Laos to help invade the location. By this point, Amy Mills Griffith had dropped out of Bo's grift, so Bo replaced her with Lynn Standerwick and Janet Townley, a pair of women who earnestly worked for the POW movement due to their fathers both being MIA. They would be filling in Amy Mills Griffith's role entirely as the new point of contact between the mission and the US government. Somehow, Bo was able to bring back guys who had helped out with both Velvet Hammer and Grand Eagle, but brought along another super shady dude, the guy who started all of this shit, Lo Therafant. Lo is back, baby. He's got pictures and he's got stories.
Lord, it's the worst Ocean's 11 ever.
Look, you can't have a grift without Lo Therafant. So the big hitch this time, though, was Bo no longer trusted the DIA or the CIA. He knew the only person who could both support him and keep the mission under wraps was the president himself, Ronald Reagan. But Bo didn't know Reagan, and I don't know how, but Bo was able to get a contact, and that contact would be actor Clint Eastwood.
Okay, this is starting to turn around for me because now we're entering a ridiculousness that I can get on board with.
Yay. So Eastwood not only agreed to convince Reagan to support the mission, but he also donated 30 grand of his own money for the mission.
Oh, that's so much money.
But Eastwood wouldn't be the only Hollywood actor to fund Operation Lazarus. I mean, sort of, because for the third time, it kind of depends on who you ask. And for this, we're going to need a weird bit of context. And to start that off, we have to talk about Bo's most successful brag, that he is the direct inspiration for Sylvester Stallone's Rambo.
Oh boy.
So it's literally the first detail in most anything you read about Gritz. And like most things, it could be sort of true. While it could fit nicely along the party trivia of Frankenstein isn't the name of the monster or Jason isn't the killer in the first Friday the 13th, one that often goes missing is Rambo only kills one person in his first movie. And
Not
even
400.
Yeah. He's way behind. He's way behind on Bo. And that one person he kills, it happens because he throws a rock at a helicopter. And the helicopter just like kind of spirals out and a guy falls out of it. Really, that's not Rambo's fault. That's just bad helicoptering.
That's just a sequence of events.
Yeah, and the movie itself is literally about Rambo trying to hitchhike to Portland after learning he is the last living member of his Green Beret unit. And he's traveling through a small town in Washington, and he starts getting harassed by the police department there for being a vagrant. And he goes back into town to try to get some food, and the police start fucking with him again, and he just kind of snaps. And yeah, it's an action movie, but it's also a really nuanced character study of a guy who has lost everything and has no one to rely on.
So maybe it's based on Bo.
Where's Rambo's
Counterpoint,
15-year-old wife?
Someone who has lost everything mentally since fighter pilot dad became a ghost that journeyed with him through the landscape of Oklahoma.
So here's where Bo might be right, though, is when you start thinking about Rambo, First Blood Part 2, this is where we start to get the ultra-violent kill count Rambo that we all think of.
Yeah.
In this one, Rambo's offered a chance at clemency if he agrees to go on a secret mission to find POWs in Vietnam. And yeah, a Green Beret that goes on a secret mission to find POWs kind of sounds a lot like Bo Gritz. But so does Gene Hackman's character of Colonel Rhodes in the 1983 movie Uncommon Valor. And the same with Chuck Norris's character of Colonel James Braddock in Missing in Action. So it makes perfect sense that Bo claims that all three characters are based on him.
Oh, jeez. Not that it was in the ether.
And yeah, maybe, kind of. But the original John Rambo absolutely is not based on Bo. Because it was a book written by David Morrell in 1972. And according to him, it was inspired by conversations that he had had with students who fought in the Vietnam War, as well as the true story of World War II veteran Audie Murphy. However, this info doesn't come out until the DVD commentary for the first Rambo movie in 2002, so Bo just got to claim that shit for as long as he fucking wanted.
That's so rude.
And yeah, to be fair, I think it is fair to say that movie sequel Rambo seems pretty close to the image that Bo made for himself. So either way, this is a long way of saying that in 1983, Hollywood was super into movies that had protagonists a lot like Bo. So when Bo offered up the movie rights to his life story, an actor by the name of William Shatner stepped forward and purchased them for 10 grand.
This is where it's all getting so weird. And like weirder still.
Now, Bo claims that the money was a direct donation to Operation Lazarus, but Shatner is emphatic that he was just making a business decision at the time, despite the fact that he has never made a Bo Gritz movie.
It's like, please, absolutely not. I cannot stress this enough.
Also, 10 grand for movie rights, that seems to be a very low ball offer.
I will go to the inflation calculator that I already have open. What year are we in?
This would have been 83.
Okay, so $26,000.
That's too low. Like if Win a Date with Tad Hamilton can be sold for $1.2 million, you could sell your life story for more than 20 grand.
Oh, well, listen. Yeah, we're not like, I'm not expecting that he had a bidding war for it.
I mean, yeah, that is actually a good point, because if people are already making movies that are kind of like him, you really don't need to buy his life story.
No, it's public domain at this point.
The thing, though, is Operation Lazarus was about to become honestly legit. A company by the name of Litton Industries, a major player in the world of military equipment, added to Bo's funds by giving him, essentially, a $50,000 gift card to spend on Litton equipment. And Bo used the money on night vision goggles, field radios, and 14 high-tech communication devices that sent coded messages to each other. They were designed to be used for nuclear strategy and nuclear codes, but Bo was like, I think these could work really well in our weird mission. Altogether, Bo got about $1 million worth of Litton equipment.
Oh my God.
And this time, Bo and his team actually made it to Thailand. That would be the last good thing to happen, though, on the mission.
Oh, no.
Strap in. So Bo's new friend, Fumi Nosavan, accepted a payment of $6 grand for his private army. But soon after the check cleared, he told Bo that, I'm not giving you my army. Thanks for the money.
Oh, damn.
After that,
Grifter got grifted.
oh, he got grifted bad. Yeah, like Fumi Nosavan is not a guy that you enter into a trustworthy agreement. You need shit on Fumi. Only way this is going to work. And after that, Bo found out that he had wasted another $5,000 on a boat. You see, they decided they weren't going to be using inflatable planes for this mission, and they had secured a boat with a guy who was there. But the guy was never able to get the boat to work. That's $11,000 out. It also doesn't help that Bo's guy in charge of guns did show up, but at some point he lost the key to the weapons locker.
Shut up.
And most hurtful of all, Clint Eastwood never once brought up Bo's plan to Reagan. Also, the $27,000 payroll just suddenly went missing.
Oh, boy.
And so with no money, no army, no boat, and only 3 guns between 19 men, Bo ordered everyone to set off for a 65-mile jungle hike to an unnamed and brand new site in Laos. And after a bit of arguing, they all agreed.
This is so terrible. Oh, my God. There's 19 of them? There's
Yep,
19 in this
He
group.
found 19 suckers to join him on this.
How are you going to sneak into anything? There's 19 of you. 19 phenomenal type Bs, might I add.
So 2 days later, after trekking through all of Thailand by foot and then into Laos, his men were ambushed. One of his men was captured, and Bo immediately ordered a hasty retreat back into Thailand, leaving his man behind. A bunch of guys nearly drowned in the Mekong River, and one guy stabbed his foot on a sharp branch, but they all made it back to the rendezvous site at Lo Therafant's house. The real kick in the dick, though, would come when the ransom came in, and they found out it was addressed from Fumi Nosavan and his private army. You see, Fumi knew they were coming, and they decided, you know what's better than $6,000? Capturing a bunch of Americans and then ransoming them.
I'm kind of digging Fumi. I don't,
Hey, you Fumi.
yeah, like, God, that's such a knife twist. That's such a punch in the balls.
And I know this is 1983 money, but the cost for them to get their guy back, $17,500.
That's it.
And Bo left.
He didn't pay it?
Nope, he abandoned his dude in Laos.
Holy cow. Worst Green Beret ever.
Now, a bit of good news is the guy would eventually be set free, but it wouldn't be because anyone paid the ransom. It would be because he found an explosive device, put it around his neck, and said, "Let me go or I am blowing up myself and anyone near me." So they let him go.
Good work, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to ransom parts.
I hope you're seeing a professional therapist.
Yeah,
What I'm sure is a very traumatic PTSD journey.
everyone in the army is like, that poor motherfucker. This is,
Oh,
I almost feel
God.
bad ransoming him.
Yeah. Shit, I was drafted, but man, this guy got fucked over.
Look, I know I'm a communist, but give that guy seconds. He needs this.
That's fine. Yeah.
And so compared to all of his other missions, this one's technically a success. I mean, they got into Laos.
It happened?
Yeah, we got there. We took some guys across the border. A tree stabbed a dude. A bunch of guys almost drowned. We lost a guy, but hey, we're here. And so immediately Bo got to work on his newest mission, Operation Lazarus Omega.
No.
This time, though, no one was giving him any money, and none of his men
Good.
wanted to return.
Good.
Finally, Bo Gritz had burned every single one of his bridges. And it also didn't help that Linton Industries really wanted to talk to Bo. You see, there'd kind of been a bit of a misunderstanding with the weird high-tech code boxes that he took with him. It seems that the misunderstanding was, we're letting you rent these. $50,000 does not buy them. These are very expensive high-tech things. And Bo's response was, no, I own these now. And so Linton sent a guy to Bo and said, give those back, please. To which Bo said, well, I did lose one of them in Laos, but I'll give you the other 13 for $50,000.
Amazing.
Linton refused. So Bo put an ad in the Los Angeles Times offering a, quote, one-day only discreet sale of all the boxes.
Unbelievable.
To which Linton then immediately caved and bought them all for $40,000.
Oh my God.
And that $40,000 officially has now funded Operation Lazarus Omega.
Oh.
And like the last mission, Bo got him and what kind of team he got into Bangkok. And he would bring along Standerwick and Townley, the 2 MIA daughters who were originally the US point of contact. But he really didn't specify what they would be doing there, as it's kind of hard to hide 2 blonde women in Thailand during a secret mission.
It's hard to hide 19 inept guys, but you managed.
19 loud Americans. So once again, Bo claimed his men would be heading to a secret site in Laos. But what actually happened is detailed by the Thai military and the Bangkok Post. So while publicly the team claimed to have set off to their mysterious location in Laos, they actually went into hiding at one of Lo Therafant's homes, before going even further into hiding at a rock quarry that Lo also owned. While Bo was chilling at the quarry, the local police arrested Lynn Standerwick, and it turns out Bo and his team had snuck in radio equipment commonly used for spying, which turns out to be a pretty big crime in Thailand.
Idiots.
So Lo would end up paying Lynn's bond and promised that she would arrive 2 days later for her arraignment. Meanwhile, Back at the rock quarry, Bo wrote a letter claiming that not only had he found a legit POW camp, but that all along he had been working with the DIA and the CIA. He then gave the letter to a courier, told him to deliver it to the Bangkok correspondent of the Los Angeles Times, and told him to tell him that he had run all the way from Laos to deliver it. So 2 days later, when Lynn was scheduled to show up for her arraignment, Bo showed up instead, claiming to have trekked all the way from Laos, despite him showing up freshly shaven and completely bathed.
Yeah.
And he was immediately arrested for illegal possession of high-powered radio equipment.
Good.
And Bo being Bo turned the ensuing trial into his own personal show. He had his army uniform delivered to Bangkok, emblazoned with all of his ribbons and awards, but when the judge refused to let him wear it during the trial, he had Lo Therafant carry it into the courtroom and hold it as a display. Bo and his team would be found guilty, but would be spared prison time if they just got the fuck out of Thailand forever.
Just leave and never return.
And Gritz did just that. And when he got back to America, of course, he became a fucking celebrity. He promised the American public proof of POWs in Laos. Not only did Bo have pictures, but his team had brought back 2 whole bags of bones that he claimed were American soldiers. You know, in bags. The country was gripped in Bo fever, at least until Bo was asked to speak in front of the House Subcommittee on Asian and Pacific Affairs. In what could have been Bo's pinnacle, he was upstaged by the State Department's Richard Armitage. You see, those 2 bags of bones that Bo had, turns out that Armitage had them tested, and the results were that it was a mix of at least 2 people of Southeast Asian descent and a fuck bunch of animal bones.
Knew it. Knew they were just cow femurs.
And then under direct questioning from Democratic Congressman Steve Solares of New York, Bo was forced to admit that he actually didn't have any proof whatsoever, claiming that he had taken pictures, but in his rush he used the wrong setting.
No, he didn't. He didn't. He's just crazy. That's it.
And in one fell swoop, Bo Gritz had been completely and utterly disgraced. And so what do you do when you're completely and utterly disgraced, Una?
It's usually Wednesday. I don't know. I mean, watch some Netflix.
The answer for Bo is you find a new religion. And in 1984, Bo, his wife, and his 2 children would be baptized into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Bo Gritz is a Mormon now.
I knew it. Yeah, because he was Mormon curious this whole time.
Apparently his 3rd wife was, and he just kind of went along with it. But then in 1985, he would try one last time to conduct a POW rescue mission. This time, he wouldn't tell the press, and he would keep the entire prep for the mission very low-key. He named the mission Operation Broken Wing, because one of the POWs he was saving only had 1 leg. You get it?
Ooh.
That would maybe make sense if he had 1 arm, and even then it's bad taste. That guy is not going to appreciate that when you save him.
Yeah.
And so the whole operation began when a Lao general named Kong Lei made a deal with Bo. In exchange for helping get 3 POWs out of Laos, Bo would help Kong Lei out of Laos and into his new home in Paris. Bo wouldn't even have to break the POWs out. Supposedly, they would all be freed by Lao defectors, and all Bo had to do was show up at a predetermined location along the Mekong River to collect the prisoners and then leave with them in Kong Lei. So the night of the pickup came by, and Bo saw the supposed prisoners approaching in a dinghy along the Mekong River. But at the last moment, an enemy boat spotted them and ran them down. The POWs survived, but they had to retreat. The next night, the rescue was attempted again, but this time someone just fired a rocket at Bo. His men escaped unharmed, but the mission had to be canceled. Not because it was clearly a setup, but because the media found out. And you know, Una, this is where we're going to leave Bo for now, because Bo's about to transition into so many different things. But the main thing is a conspiracy theorist.
I mean, he's been one just without the name this whole time.
Oh no, we're about to dive into some deep B-side conspiracy shit.
No.
But what makes that so good, Una? He's going to run for president.
I hate everything about this.
Yeah, so how do you feel about good old Rambo right now?
Not good.
So one of the funny things is, like, with this Susan Katz Keating book, I was able to find it on archive.org where you can read it for free. Nice. But if you go onto Amazon, it has 3 bad reviews. And one of them is left by a guy just calling himself Rambo.
No.
Whose next good review is of one of Bo Gritz's books.
Amazing.
But weirdly enough, the most recent 5-star review left by Rambo is for a Friday the 13th book, apparently part of a whole series. And this one in particular, it's Jason at a carnival killing people. He's like on a roller coaster and he's going to stab some kids. And it's apparently a 5-star book.
Yeah, this guy, more than any candidate we've learned about since starting this whole shenanigans up, this one is like, this guy is mentally unwell. Yeah. Like, through and through. And I can't anymore with him.
Oh, and I almost forgot. Like, we need to put a button on the whole MIA POW thing too. So in
Mm.
1993, from 1991 to 1993, the U.S. Senate would run an entire investigation on the findings of this. It would be headed up by John Kerry, Bob Smith, and John McCain, all of them Vietnam War veterans. And in the end, they would conclude that there was absolutely no evidence that any American soldiers had been held after the Paris Accords. And any sort of reporting otherwise, they found to be people who had been killed while they were there, or the occasional instance of people defecting to the other side.
Hmm.
But yeah, they essentially found out, like, no, you've been getting grifted this entire fucking time. And it's tragic and disgusting. And it makes me feel really terrible for the people who put so much money into this because they just wanted to find their families.
Yeah.
And then you have people like Bo Gritz, who I honestly kind of believe that he thought that there were POWs there just because he wanted to live his hero journey.
Yeah.
But it's that hero journey ego that is just giving people all of this false hope and just bleeding them dry.
Yeah, that's what makes the mental illness surrounding his journey so intense.
It's a bunch. So yeah, definitely gird yourself for next week because we are getting into some deep fucking conspiracy theories, and
Great.
It's going to be
favorite,
goddamn interesting.
Dusty.
Why wouldn't you want this guy to run for president? Oh man! So thank you for joining us this week as we return back into third-party politics, as we damn well should. Join us next week on the continuing story of Bo Gritz, America's Rambo.
Yay!
Gadfly is a production of Added Serotonin. Our episodes are edited by Brianna Valentine of Rem Alternus Productions. Our theme song is Sophomore Makeout by Silent Partner, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at GadflyPod.